Hey guys, what's up? It's your poker guy, and I am back with another podcast and super happy because I'm getting to meet a lot of different people. And today we have someone who have spent two co-founders who've spent a good amount of time in the sports industry and have dealt with people like Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Faf du Plessis. So it's going to be super interesting discussing their sports journey as well as how they actually launched a poker website. Super happy to bring in Ankush and Prasun today from Pokerstreet. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining in and taking out time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, Far.
Thank you for having us over. Great pleasure to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So guys, how is the entire thing going? How many podcasts and how many interviews have you all started doing already? And how are you all how's it all going? How's the startup life going?
Oh well, for one, startup life is exciting. I mean, one thing that always sticks is that when you're working in the industry for so long, there's always that work that. So definitely, it's a lot of excitement. We're quite excited about the way we've come so far
Sure.
and the journey ahead. Of course, it's with that excitement, of awakening that happens when you walk down that road, where it's very emotional, it's very
Absolutely.
thrilling, it's very chilling. It's like, I mean, if I can put it like that. But yes, a lot of similarity between poker and startup world. And one thing that we've realized is we'll have to just enjoy the journey, work on the processes, and not get too emotional about it.
So guys, before we really start today, I want to kind of just let's get a quick background about बहुत सारे operators है, but we don't never know कि उनके पीछे कौन है. And because this is a game of trust, right? There is poker has a lot of trust to it. Let's just understand who are the two people we have as co-founders. So if you all can just quickly give us a small brief about what your journey has been. And I spoke of Riti Sports and that you guys have handled Dhoni and Faf du Plessis and managed all these players. So can we just get a quick brief about each of you? Ankush, if you want to start, like just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my association with poker has been quite long. It's been 14 years. I've been playing poker since 2008.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, like most of Indian poker players, I started with Zynga. And it was instant love. I just started playing the game, quickly understood the nuances of it, and instantly fell in love with it. And I knew that it will stay in my life for a long time, and as it did. And during those days, back in the days, content around poker was readily available on YouTube. The whole WSOP footages of 12 hours was readily available. So
Right.
that made me engage and interact with the game a lot more. So that's how poker has been a part of my life, either through content consumption or playing. And over the time, it stayed with my life as a recreational hobby. It stayed with after my job, after my 9 to 5, which I ended up loving. I would still give time to poker. In college, after my studies, I still give time to poker. It stayed throughout the entire life. And
And this was
luckily,
cash games or tournaments? Was this cash games or tournaments?
I've always been fan of cash games. I mean, I've tried my hand at tournaments. I've been decent at it, I would say, but yeah, I will always love cash games much more.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And
Okay. And if we talk about your work journey, not so if I keep the interest of poker aside, what you've worked in the sports industry. So what has that been like? If you can just tell us about that. Where have you worked and what? Yeah.
so sports has always been a constant in my life. It's one of the constants. So I got into engineering first and dropped out of it because I knew I was doing it only for my parents. So I thought I'll make my parents proud through some other way. And that's when I decided to get into sports marketing. So I studied sports marketing from Mumbai. It's International Institute of Sports Management. Then
Sure.
I got immediately after that I got World Cup gig, World Cup 2016, which I held in India. And yes, the journey in sports continued from there. I luckily managed a couple of IPL teams, managed their digital marketing. And then I met Prasoon at Riti Sports, where we both used to manage Dhoni. Prasoon was heading Mumbai office then. I was in Delhi office. So, but we had interactions around sports and poker specifically. And that's how we knew that Prasoon and me, I mean, we stayed in touch through our bond through sports and poker. And uh, after being into sports marketing for 6 years, I mean, I got what I wanted out of it. I had enough satisfaction of my career in poker, and I was looking to do something of my own, either in sports or games or there. And luckily, I have seen the poker evolve throughout the years and gaming evolve in India throughout the years. And that's why my brain got churning that if I can do something in gaming. And
Sure.
when I thought about gaming, poker was the first thing which came to my
So
mind.
I'm gonna come for that, okay, why poker? But before that, let's get Prasun also. Let's understand, Prasun, your journey as well. I understand you've also been a person from the corporate industry for long. So yeah, please, can you tell us about your journey?
Oh yes, I mean it's been a really memorable and fun journey. So I've had the pleasure of working across multiple industries. So I started my career post my MBA with retail. Then I did a bit of telecom, BFSI, airports. Then I jumped into media. I think that's where things started getting really interesting because you started looking at marketing in a very different way, and that led to me entering the sports marketing world, where I initially started off with the company that used to manage MSD Sports. And I had the fortune of then working with IG Reliance, which became Rise Worldwide. Again, India's number one sports marketing company. So I had a lot of pleasure and the opportunity of working with some excellent people along the way, not just sports people, but also professionals who define the industry. And that really got me interested. Obviously, we all at some level want to do something of your own, but then what happens is you're looking for that nice intersection in the Venn diagram where your talent, your opportunity, and your skill sets intersect. So with poker I found
ये
that
आईपीएल का था, राइट? ये आईपीएल का भी है, राइट?
that's
टैलेंट
talent and
अपॉर्चुनिटी.
opportunity.
अच्छा.
Yes.
And skills is where poker comes in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect. Yeah, nice
So,
one.
it's been a very memorable, incredible journey. So I started my career with retail. Then I moved on to telecom. Then I did a bit of BFSI. Then a bit of aviation. Then I got into media. That's when things started getting a bit interesting, where I started looking at how brands are positioning themselves, how they're using media, the cool side of marketing, and that eventually led me to joining Riti Sports, where I had the fortune of working with leading cricketer MS. I mean, he's an icon to not just all
Absolutely.
Indians, I think, across the world. So, and then definitely I moved on to IMG Reliance, which is again India's number one sports marketing company. And it's not just the sports people I got to work with, but I also got to work with amazing professionals from the industry who are shaping the industry as we speak. And these are things that stick with you, because today when we look at poker, we look at poker not just as a game or as something that is a very casual thing in nature, but we look at it as a sport.
Sure.
And we look at positioning poker as a sport, applying our efforts in the direction where we can see how poker can be adopted as a sport. So that's what's helped. I didn't get into poker for a very long time. So I remember having a BlackBerry back in the days, and poker used to be like one small game inside it, and that's about it. That was all the poker I knew. Uh, at the start of 2020, PokerStars got MS on board as a brand ambassador. So, like a lot of Indians, that's when I got into poker, because
Nice.
what PokerStars also did was, every day have these daily tournaments for MS and friends. So, MS, Sakshi, a few of his friends, people who worked with him, other cricketers, we used to all come together and have a game of poker every night. So
Oh,
that's when I
wow.
started playing poker. That's when I started liking poker. I'm like, wow, this is good here. I'm liking it. So I managed to then speak to my friends around. And there was a time where, we were all figuring out our day schedule, how it's getting scheduled and all. So my friends also got interested. They're like, ये तो अच्छी चीज है, we should play more often. So those typical things happened. We created a building WhatsApp group. We tried creating excitement around poker, and then more people started joining. And that's when it struck me that, if I'm liking it so much and I'm getting other
Sure.
people to like poker so much, maybe let's check what's happening. I mean, is poker that big? So then I reconnected with Ankush because I remember him being totally crazy about poker. Like I remember that point of time, he wanted to leave everything and just become a full-time poker player. So,
Wow.
so that's when we, yeah, and we reconnected. And then he was coincidentally having similar thoughts. Said, yes, let's do something on poker. So we both realized that we're very passionate about poker and growing poker. And then this felt like the right time to do it. And of course, during the lockdowns and all, people took to gaming in a very big way.
Correct.
So that's when you think, okay, fine, like the passion is there. Our work experience collectively gives us a certain level of talent, and the opportunity is there because the overall gaming industry is going. So the talent, opportunity, and passion all met, and here we are.
Interesting. Nice. Okay. We have some nice this thing. MS would have been a poker player, तो मजा आ जाता. But okay, let's move. Okay, that's interesting. I understand sports marketing now, and मुझे ये आपसे प्रश्न पूछना था आपके प्रोफाइल में से जाके कि यार आपने एयरपोर्ट्स पे भी रेवेन्यू के में काम किया है. तो यार ये एयरपोर्ट्स में सब कुछ इतना महंगा क्यों है? What is the concept behind that? Why is everything so expensive at airports? Why do you charge so much?
Okay, so in fact, that's a very big myth. It's like telling poker's gambling. So when
Oh,
you
okay.
travel,
Huh.
yeah, exactly. So when you travel at the airports, so we at Mumbai Airport had a very clear policy that you can't charge more at the airport for the same product that you're retailing outside. So your
Nice.
prices got to have parity, and that's how exactly travel retail took off. Because travel retail as a category didn't exist for a very long time back. But when you saw big brands like Roma, like I remember Mumbai Airport Roma store being one of their most profitable outlets, and the reason was the price parity was maintained, and they had very strong thoughts behind
Okay.
merchandising and category management. So to bust a myth, products are not expensive at the airports in a retail point of view. Now let's come to F&B.
Huh.
Now there again, I understand that products may feel slightly pricey over there, but then you have to look at it from what are you comparing it with? I mean, are you comparing it from a roadside stall? Are you comparing it from a food court at a mall? Are you comparing it at a normal restaurant you would go out to? So when you start comparing it with the right benchmarks, it's not expensive. And of course, it was always the intent and the convenience that is provided to you. So yeah, I mean, from a legal point of view, we'll talk about convenience and all that. But even from a consumer point of view, the kind of variety that has started coming in, like it's
Everything. You have
actually like a
everything.
big
Yeah.
mall. It's like a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
mall today, and you travel. You're supposed to have a stress-free travel, and that's what the airports today are giving you. I know, very interesting. Like the airport today, a good airport today has 50% of the revenues coming from non-aeronautical avenues. So your advertising, your
Wow.
retail, your food and beverage contribute majorly towards it. And we are very lucky that India's witnessed this boom in airport because the facilities have gone up. Like even today, when you travel through Mumbai T2, you have that sense of pride. Ki, wow, this is ours. I
Yeah.
mean, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what India needed. The kind of airports that we've had in the 80s and 90s and what we have today. It's an upgradation in a major way,
Sure.
and the passengers are getting a lot of facilities for it. So yeah, I mean, it's been a very interesting ride over there.
Interesting, interesting. Okay. Okay. So I understand your love for sports. I understand you played with Dhoni. I understand Ankush has been in the industry, has been playing Zynga for 14 years now. You all decided कि entrepreneurship में अभी करना है, and you all decided, he said कि I'm done with my sports marketing role for 6 years now. तो जो एक entrepreneurship में when you're deciding, you go into either कि TAM बहुत बड़ा है, which is your total addressable market, कितना बड़ा market है, ये है, वो है. So how did poker happened? Because again there was an option that you could revolutionize football also. Like again, football is also not that big in India. Like ISL has done a good job, but I mean, it's not like like what Kabaddi has done a good job actually. So वैसे करके, so how did you guys decide कि नहीं मैं poker करना चाहूंगा and I'll go for poker?
So I'll just take you back to why we got into poker, and maybe that's something that if someone asked to ask me about entrepreneurship, it's about doing something that you're passionate about and there being an opportunity for it. So in poker, we felt that between the two of us, we had the right kind of passion about poker, and the opportunity. I would say we've not even scratched the surface in poker. Like poker has grown a lot in the last 4-5 years. It got a major boost post 2020, but we've not even begun in poker about in India. I mean, we are still waiting for that 83 moment where a lot more people take to poker. So no other sport today offers you that. Like fantasy is completely saturated right now.
Sure.
Rummy is big. It's a very big market, but there are very big players who already cornered that.
Correct.
Poker is unique because even the smaller guys have a potential of making a mark, growing the ecosystem. So there are two types of things that happen when you enter industry. One, you poach users from your competitors and you grow. Or the other is you grow the market.
Sure.
I would say poker is one of those few industries where a new entrant can also look at growing the market. And that opportunity is not there in any other sport right now in that way. So that's our reasoning for choosing poker.
Interesting, interesting. How did families react to the fact that poker, I mean, entrepreneurship करने जा रहे हो, not poker related, I'm saying entrepreneurship related, because there are good nights, there are bad nights. There is no salary credit at the end of the month. Myself have been through it, so I kind of realized that what it's like. And, so how is that? Did you all have like a discussion with family, or how is it like? Anyone, whoever wants to take it.
So my family has always been supportive of whatever I do. I mean, luckily, I mean, they got used to it the first time I told them I'm dropping out of engineering. I mean, they got used to it. कि
Ah,
इसका
they like, yeah.
चलने ही वाला है इसका कुछ ऐसा कुछ. And So, see, some of my decisions have made them proud. Some of my decisions have worked out, and this was just another one of those. And I'm lucky that they're still on my side and they support me in whatever I'm doing.
Interesting. Rasul, if you have anything on your family front.
Oh yeah, I mean the only thing I feel is I should have done it earlier. I wish I could have been introduced to poker earlier in my life, because then I would have had a much more head start into this industry and something that I'm very passionate about. Yes, I mean somewhere I think my family also knew that yes, eventually this is what I would end up doing. It was just about getting the timing right, and I'm happy. I'm glad that it happened, even though I had to wait for 15 long years for it to happen. But I'm glad it eventually did. I'm just
Fair
looking ahead
enough.
now.
Fair enough. There are both sides to it. I agree. क्योंकि कभी होता है कि एक्सपीरियंस के बाद आप चालू करते हो, एक्सपीरियंस के बिना चालू करते हो. Both sides have their thing. So, okay, coming to poker, what is wrong with online poker in India today, according to you? If there is, like, whatever, there might be few points in general question. And what is the problem statement that Ankush and Prasun are solving at Poker Street? Like, Poker Street, क्या problems है? And how is, that's my second question, actually. So let's just take what is wrong with online poker, and then we'll go to how Poker Street solves it.
So there are two sides of it. One, again, as Prasoon mentioned, it's still a very limited community, it's still very niche. So first challenge is awareness. So what we are trying to solve is, we're trying to spread poker amongst masses to get them to play the game, to get them to get poker into their life, be it as a hobby, as side hustle, as profession, whatever the way they accept it. So first thing is awareness about it. It's a skill game. It's not like जुआ नहीं है, मटका नहीं है. That's one awareness challenge that we are trying to solve. Another challenge is the fair play part of the game, from both parts. I mean, from the player part and operator part as well. I mean, from player part, I would say that usually sites offer bonuses and promotions, so that player get full experience out of the game. And there are some sets of users who try and exploit the promotion part of it. So there has to be responsibility from player side as well, and from operator side, there has to be strong and strict measures while controlling the unfair part of the game, where collusion is happening, multi accounting is happening, tip dumping is happening, and some other unfair means are happening. So we at Pokerstreet, we are pretty clear about that. We want to make the game absolutely fair, absolutely level grounded, and that's all, why we also decided to get HUDs into the game inbuilt. Because if someone, a player is using HUD and the other player doesn't know about it, that's an unfair edge he has. So
Sure.
that's also our conscious choice, or from our first discussion, that we will have inbuilt HUD so that it's a level playing field for everyone. So these are the two things we want to build on. So,
Interesting, interesting. Okay. And in terms of what is wrong is, you said that you're talking about कि एक तो fair play का आपने कहा, and second you said is awareness, and awareness bit is more of a, it's a collective problem, right? It's not कि कोई चीज खराब हो रही है in the industry as of right now. It's just that everyone needs to work together to do it.
absolutely.
How do you think Poker Street is going to solve that, the awareness bit? Because is it like a money problem? Is it like a, like example, if you put out 100 billboards right now, example, and then does that solve it, or do we know what the answer is? Because सब लोग, उसके पीछे है, because like as a community runner, I myself want to grow my community and I want to be like, okay, yeah, but वो चीज do we have the answers to how are we increasing the number of active players? Maybe there are 100,000, 200,000 who are active players. How do we really grow it to a lakh, जो रमी के to a million, जो रमी के पास है, या 5 million, 10 million, whatever it is. So वो answer, like, what is the effort that Poker Street is planning on taking in that direction? Like anything on those lines?
So as you rightly said, I mean, it's a collective problem, and it cannot be solved by just advertising ki aao poker khelo. It has to be solved through some meaningful communication with the player, and it has to be solved. It has to be a continuous journey. So the
Correct.
journey begins with, I get him into, let's just say, Poker Street Academy. We're building an academy where we teach basics of poker. So I get him into academy. Now, when he enters an academy, that's the start of his journey. Then he experiences poker. Then he comes to guys like you and Poker Guru and other parts of the community who are there to receive him, who are there to welcome him. That welcome to the community, and here is what it is. I mean, he feels comfortable. So this entire journey has to be collectively solved by every branch of the ecosystem. We can get him in easily. I would comfortably through an academy where he first gets a basic understanding before he gets on the table, and then you guys take it ahead and show him the entire community.
Sure, interesting. I like that. But it's a collective for everyone, and everyone has to be responsible in that. So यहाँ आपने Poker Street Academy के बारे में बात किया. I just want to just touch that. What is Poker Street Academy? So you're not only a website. That's what I understand right now. There's something on the educational front. Uh, there are a few websites also who have maybe their own school या फिर कुछ content material है. I think PokerStars पे content material है, etc. So how is Poker Street Academy a little different? And is it again coaching only? तो वापस coaching, and if it's a profitable for profit, of course it is as a business, but then does it become that we are trying to tap into the same users? So what is your vision with Poker Street Academy? आप क्या करने की try कर रहे हो? Anyone, like, just
Prasun, would you like to take that?
and also,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it something like, sorry, and also, is it something like a digital marketing course? Digital marketing took off really well in the last maybe 5 years or 3 years. Like it just exploded and everyone was okay to take up a digital marketing job. So are we doing something where suddenly everyone is like, यार मैं ये पढ़ाई तो कर रहा हूँ, but मैं ये course भी कर लेता हूँ Poker Street का, जिससे मेरे को poker का certification मिलेगा? What is the vision that you guys have?
So I think the answer to that is, see, poker is a complicated sport. It's not a sport where you suddenly turn up and you learn and you do well. And what
Correct.
happens is you suddenly turn up and you lose. You never come back. I mean, chances are that you will say, "Yaar, this is me, मेरी बस की नहीं है, मैं जा रहा हूँ." Right?
Correct.
But one thing that we've identified is if we can create one layer before a person comes and sits on the table. Because see, we are trying to get new people to come into poker.
Right.
And new people coming into poker means that they need to take one step as an initiation into poker and then get on the table. So Poker Street Academy is trying to solve that part. Where if you are someone who's completely new, you've heard of poker, you have interest in playing poker, but you don't know how to play poker. And all
Sure.
you need is that little bit of knowledge capsule, which will give you enough knowledge to at least sit at a table with some basic knowledge. And then, of course, the knowledge can be scaled up. So initially, what Poker Street Academy is wanting to achieve is give that initial knowledge capsule to someone who's extremely new. Okay, fine. This is poker. These are the free content on our Poker Street Academy that you would like. There's a very basic paid course that you would like to take if you would like to take to learn more about poker. With these two courses, you are good to go. You can confidently sit at a table and at least understand poker when you're playing it, rather than it being a completely different, completely new experience for you. So that's the first step that we want to take. It's an initial support. It's like when we try to learn cycling, we usually start with two support side wheels, and then they get taken off, and then you're there. Like poker, right? It's like that. You don't just sit on a cycle and you'll fall. But in cycling, you'll fall, you'll keep trying. But in poker, if you fall the first couple of times, a lot of users drop out.
Yeah, I
And it's
completely
our
agree.
way to
100%.
bridge that drop off.
जो जितने आ रहे हैं उतने जा भी रहे हैं, so I understand that.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're absolutely right there. And so just to understand about the courses, is it like live sessions or is it a recorded course, or are you all like doing something on those lines? What is the course like? Because I know a lot of the small stake players and the micro stake and just reached mid, they are the ones who want to study such courses even more. So is it like live or is it like paid? Or I mean, it's paid, but is it like on demand? Kaisa hai?
So it's a mix of both. So there are components where there's a bit of reading involved. And then what we believe is, see, like when I started playing poker in 2020, a lot of my learnings happened with the discussions I had with friends who were already playing poker. So we've identified that and we've kept provision for live interaction with the coaches, because study materials available everywhere on the internet. I mean, you have YouTube videos, you've got PDF files which are exchanged quite easily. So that's already there. But what is lacking is a formal setup where you can come together, discuss poker, learn from each other. So Poker Street Academy, the one thing that we feel differentiates that is that coming together of people and interaction with a live coach, which is needed today, because we felt it. So everything we do at Poker Street, we keep Ankush in front of us. We keep me in front of us. Ankush being someone who's been playing poker for 14 years, someone has started playing poker recently, and then we see what's good for Ankush, what's good for Prasan. Sure. And then we design things around. So Poker Street Academy is designed around that new user who wants to talk to someone about poker after having read a basic course on it, and then handhold him further in the journey.
Absolutely. Okay, done. My last question on Poker Street, is it already live or is it someone can already start buying it, or is it something which is going to release soon?
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Is the Poker Street Academy courses already live? Are the courses live, or is it something that are going to go live really soon? Like, is it going to release sometime?
So Our basic courses are live. Today someone who wants to learn poker can go to pokerstreetacademy.com and have a look at the basic free
Nice.
course. Also have a look at the initial basic course, which is a paid course, starting at only 500 rupees. So it's not like we've priced it very aggressively. Uh, we want more people to learn poker at least the basic level and then come onto the tables. So that is live. Eventually, yes, we do plan to have specialized courses on PLO, MTTs, and higher level courses. So that's a roadmap for Poker Street Academy. But yes, right now, what we're looking at is having that first level support to people who are playing poker.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for that, Prasun. Let's move to the poker culture today. Okay, so the way I see it is that जो पहले golf हुआ करता था, अभी वो again if I say अमीरों का game है वो नहीं होगा, but I mean the networking level बहुत अच्छा poker से होने लग गया है. Be it a lot of बहुत top company के startups के founders भी ले लो, be it your Kunal Shah or PayU ka Jitendra Gupta, and all of these come together and play poker over this thing. And I know a lot of VCs play poker, so that is one thing. And ये network build हो रहा है कि यार let's meet over a game of poker. So what is the culture that is of poker? Is it rising today? What is your take on the poker culture in India today? You know, what is your take there?
So I mean, I feel really lucky that I have seen this community and I've seen this culture growing right in front of my eyes. So when I started in 2008 during the Zynga days, I barely had two people around me to discuss poker. And over the years, this circle kept on growing from 2 to 10 to 20 to 100 to 150 to 200 people who I can discuss poker. And everywhere I go to, one college to another, there was always someone who I could discuss and share poker with. Now it's becoming more into from a niche to mainstream, where everyone around me knows. And during my initial days, I mean, the professional part of it was really less known about it. I mean, I still knew about the OGs of India, the Hall Mudgal, Goindi, and they did carry an aspirational level for players like me that okay, I someday want to travel to that location and play the
Yeah,
tournament. Yeah, I would someday like to have that kind of sport, that kind
freedom.
of game, that kind
Yeah,
of freedom. Yeah. And there was certainly aspirational level to it, and over the year, I mean, it became things like poker add to your life. I mean, this is what gives meaning to your life. I mean, some people play musical instruments, some people watch movies. So people have different hobbies, and poker is one rewarding hobby. I mean, which gives much more meaning to your life because it's not just giving you a certain amount of extra money or something, but it's also giving you some skills which can help you along in your career. So it has been absolutely beautiful to see people adapting to this culture, and this culture has been growing so much. And I look forward to the days where we hold even bigger championships in India, even bigger premier tournaments in India, and hopefully we have even more games in India all over. I mean, I look forward to those days.
definitely, I agree. And also, there's a lot of huge chunk of players who are offline. जो ऑनलाइन है अभी वैसे आई थिंक दैट मस्ट बी बिगर देन द नंबर ऑफ ऑनलाइन प्लेयर्स देयर आर पीपल हु आर डूइंग इट एज अ पार्ट ऑफ द कल्चर लाइक यू मेंशन कि वो फ्रेंड्स के साथ दिवाली पे खेल रहे हैं या चलो होम गेम्स पे अपने दोस्तों के साथ खेल रहे हैं बट दे नॉट प्लेइंग एक्टिवली ऑनलाइन और प्लेइंग इट फॉर द रिवॉर्ड बेस्ड पार्ट दैट यू मेंशन या फिर उसके लिए आज बैठ गए I have a very close friend, and she's like and I see the excitement that she has, and it's not because of me introducing her to poker. She already was playing poker with us friends, and then now they wait, and I'm like, अरे यार बच्चों के साथ क्या खेलूं मैं वो feel देता हूँ, but but they bring in that level of excitement, but they're not playing online. So that culture, वो direct audience है जो पहले है नहीं, तो anything that we should do to bring those people online, like how do you think we can kind of grow that entire offline culture, bring it online? Is there like a mix there that you guys see?
Okay. Yeah. So, see, earlier you gave an example about football. Football is not growing in India. So, like poker, with any other sport, the problem is the same. There has to be conversations around it. Now, let's just say a football league is happening in India, and there's a team playing Delhi Dynamite and something, right? If there is no conversation about Delhi Dynamite and the players playing in it, Delhi Dynamite will never grow. Because
True.
no matter how good they play, what TV पे Star Sports पे आ रहा है, कहाँ पे आ रहा है, that doesn't matter at all unless football players, Delhi के football players are talking about their dynamic.
Absolutely.
So for like the example you gave, I mean, your friends are excited about it, but they're not playing online because they are not yet completely hooked in conversations. So there has to be enough conversation around them. And a few ways to generate these conversations could be good content around poker, and other ways could be these highlighting numbers and premier championships.
Yeah.
Because you need to have heroes in every sport who you can have aspiration value. Oh, that he made a nice move. So when you are playing poker, even if you get 10% of that move, you feel connected to the game a lot more.
No, absolutely. I think it's a very good answer. I kind of really agree to the entire thing you said. Conversations, brilliant. Like, yeah, I think that is what the need is. The excitement needs to come out. Harsh Grover is 26 and he's made 12 crores in recorded earnings. It's something which probably a lot of elder people haven't done. So, it's a huge thing to bring it out. So, absolutely. Awesome. Perfect, yaar. Let's move on. अपन आप लोगों ने एक poker site चालू किया. You also spoke about Pokerstreet Academy, which is another vertical in it, and this thing. Uh, Before we move into what is the process of starting a poker site and क्या लगता है क्या टेक में क्या लग रहा है और क्योंकि सिक्योरिटी फीचर आ जाता है ये आता है फाइनेंसेस व्हाट इज द कॉस्टिंग दैट इज नीडेड इज इट लाइक अ रेडीमेड सॉफ्टवेयर दैट यू कैन यूज या कैसा होता है बिफोर वी मूव इनटू दैट हाउ मेनी users or operators are there today in India? Do you have like a rough count of यार कितने लोग are trying, or is that a number that even matters to you guys or doesn't matter to you guys?
Like I said earlier, Parth, this is one industry where the new operators have the potential to increase the size of the pie. So
Right.
it's but natural that a lot of people like us are trying to attempt that. And as long as the focus is towards growing the pie, I think the new operators
Everyone will have
will be
space.
received well, and they will try bringing that passion into translatable business. And
Sure.
keeping that in mind, yes, having said that, I would say there are around 12 to 13 active poker operators today who are actively trying to grow the ecosystem. And so that being said, yes, there are a lot of new operators who've along with us, started, and I'm happy to see that, because what happens is this is not an industry where you just turn up, and buy a rented software, put it up, and then expect, okay, fine, now you'll do well. Because the
Correct.
real battle comes into trying to grow the ecosystem, trying to grow the base of poker players in India, and that cannot be purely done by picking up a ready-made software and launching and expecting people to turn up. So it's a business. There's a lot of planning that goes towards how you acquire users, how you retain users. I think ultimately the game is all about acquisition and retention. And poker being poker, there is, I mean, I would love to say that, there is no absolute loyalty among poker players. So if you're
Correct.
a poker player, you have a primary loyalty towards one side, but then you do try hunting for value at the other sides, whether it's trying to crack a leaderboard or a tournament that you like or something that you
Absolutely.
can do. Because most of the grinders play multiple tables,
Correct.
and that's when the value hunting happens. So it's good. More and more people coming into the ecosystem is always good, because they bring more players into the ecosystem, and that's about it. And with regards to the complexities and the process, it's similar to any startup that you do. And so yeah, I mean, that's what it
Got it.
is.
So is it like कि poker में बहुत ज़्यादा tech involvement होता है because of security and this thing कि it's normal?
Of
Okay.
course, the element of tech in poker is absolutely high. I mean, the product itself, your entire business is a technology business. So your platform has to be robust, stable, secure. You would need to have certain anti-fraud features. Like Ankush was earlier talking about how there's a lot of users that we've encountered. So we've been operational for a few months, and we've gone through life cycles of sets and groups of users coming with the pure intent of only cheating. So your system will have to be strong enough to detect that and take corrective
Wow.
action. Because if you leave it unchecked, you're spoiling the experience for genuine players who are looking at coming and experiencing a fair gameplay experience. So your system needs to be robust enough in detecting fraud, and then your team has to be strong enough in taking strong action against that fraud. So the
Wow. Yeah, I
element of
agree.
tech is quite high.
The average player is not thinking about the element of cheating that is happening, which the site operator has to really look into that bit. Absolutely done. Okay, there are sites like Nine Stacks. I don't know about a lot of other websites, at least what is out in the open. Nine Stacks has raised funding, has raised a Series A round from VCs, Waterbridge Ventures, and this thing is there. So, as a site operator, when you're also running, if you're meeting investors and talking about poker, how exciting is it for investors, and how do they react to poker as a category? And what is the like when I'm talking about investors, guys? I mean VCs is like what I'm telling the community. Okay, VCs keep like how do VCs react, and कैसे funding environment कैसा होता है for a poker category startup?
Well, it's always interesting. Like VCs, especially investors, they look at businesses that create value both in the short term and the long term. And gaming today is quite widely accepted as an industry which is booming and which
Correct.
will do well in the years to come. So in that way, yes, the overall sentiment for gaming is upwards. Also, what's important is to understand that poker is slightly different. I mean, so in gaming, there are casual games. There's Rummy, there's Fantasy, there's Poker, and there are multi-gaming platforms. So gaming has there's esports again a big category. There's streaming which is coming up in a major category. So there are various parts of gaming which have received good interest from the investor community. I think it's all about backing horses that have the potential to grow the ecosystem, grow along with the ecosystem. So investors look for that. I mean, they look for companies that will grow faster than the industry, for example, or will create an impact that will grow the industry.
Sure.
So that's the investor outlook that we've encountered. And there is reasonable, I would say, excitement in the investor community about gaming.
Nice. Okay. Okay. So lot of sites have now वो diversify होना होता है लोगों को तो रमी चालू कर दिया फैंटेसी गेमिंग भी चालू कर दिया but I've seen that वो रमी और फैंटेसी में there are already marquee players existing like you mentioned in the podcast as well so when poker sites launched that is it just to kind of say कि I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket या फिर but I think it's not very profitable also so what is your take is Pokerstreet looking at that or are you going to core focus on poker for now at least how you guys structure it.
See, the beauty of a problem is there are multiple ways to reach the solution, and companies doing multi-gaming platforms look at it as one way to reach a solution. People like us who want to grow poker in itself look at it as one way to reach the ecosystem.
Sure.
So I wouldn't say one is better than the other or one is right and the other is wrong. Both are ultimately looking at solving the same problem. And so, like I was telling you about Pokerstreet Academy, helping users get a taste of poker and get into poker. The other multi-gaming sites have that experience of users getting a taste of gaming and playing with real money before getting into poker. So both work towards the same problem, and eventually the paths diverge somewhere. So I would say it's good that we're trying to see more and more attempts at solving the same problem via different routes, and ultimately that's good for the industry.
Nice. I think that's a good answer. Okay. Top two poker companies that each of you really admire or look up to, because as a startup and you're looking at someone, you're kind of getting inspiration. So, aapki industry mein say, if each of you answer the two companies that you all look up to or take some inspiration. I know we won't look at it from the competition perspective.
People are gonna hate us after we say that because the ones that we didn't say, like, हमने क्या बुरा किया था?
नहीं that's okay तो मतलब जो भी आप जिससे इंस्पिरेशन लेते हो be it कि ये and why because कि यार इसका मुझे ये बहुत अच्छा लग गया and like we are seeking inspiration from them that's all not that you think of it as a competitor I'm just saying inspiration.
I would answer this as a player because then it's a non-controversial answer.
Sure.
As a player, I've always loved PokerStars. I mean, that was my primary place where I used to play. And I love the fact that how they position poker as a sport internationally. And they've been able to do that on the back of excellent content, excellent positioning. So in that way, I absolutely love PokerStars. I love the excitement that Bazi is bringing into the poker ecosystem today. I mean, if you today talk about the tournaments that they're conducting, that entire buzz with the latest campaign with Shai. So that's something that I really love. I mean, as a player, I'm really impressed with that. So that's my
fair enough. Prasan just managed to answer that perfectly fine. Ankush, yeah, sorry, I think you're on mute. Like not on mute, but you're. No, cannot hear you.
Can't hear you.
This is Ankush's way of getting away from the answer.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So I'll just add one more thing to it. I mean, besides the real money gaming operators, I really appreciate the work PSL guys have been doing in during the ecosystem. And those live qualifiers in every city, trying to get permissions, trying to hold that event perfectly, and getting more and more players into that league side of it. I mean, I really appreciate what PSL guys are doing.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So that I mean, PSL, we got Bazi, we got Stars, and good enough. सही है. So are tourneys just to attract players and the real money is from cash games and is that thing? So how do sites bear the overlays, So wo kaisa, is it a loss that everyone has to kind of bear as an investment into the thing? How does that work?
So ultimately, Parth, it's a game of acquisition and retention.
Sure.
Okay, and sometimes you do certain things to attract users, and then you certain promotions to retain users, and the cycle continues. And of course, the bigger tourneys attract. So it works two ways. I mean, a big GTD attracts a new player. Oh wow, this is big. A big GTD helps you retain a player. You're like, yeah, let me continue playing. This is big because the leaderboard is amazing. I'm getting fours and fours. Companies giving out. Effectively, it's a business that you run. So there is an element that you see, okay, fine, how much is the marketing spend, how much is something that I want to recover as ROI. And that being said, like I said, it's all good for the user today that you've got a bunch of companies that are trying to attract you and retain you. So this is a perfect time for poker players to come try out different promotions that are on offer today and make the most of it.
Nice, good one. Because I'll tell you, so as you know, ये poker is such a complex business कि जब आप अगर अपन जब ट्यूशन में होते थे और अपन वड़ा पाव वाले का धंधा देखते थे बाहर जो वड़ा पाव बेच रहा है ये दिन के 100 वड़ा 200 वड़ा पाव तो बेचता ही होगा ये हो गया इसका टर्नओवर ये मैथ्स हो गया एज अ पोकर प्लेयर एज एन एवरेज रिक्रिएशनल प्लेयर यू नेवर अंडरस्टैंड कि वो पोकर वेबसाइट कैसे कमा रही है what are the exact ways. So that's the reason why I just want to bring it out so that everyone can kind of just understand, how poker websites make money, and how does this entire system flow. And ये losses कौन bear करता है, and it's a large, it's a you have like 100, like maybe 500 such tournaments in a month. So how does the math work for overlays, and that's what I wanted to get it. Thank you, answer. I have a final question before that. And this is before we just talk last about Pokerstreet. But one is this Rakeback and leaderboards. That is, I think Funkush wants to go for this, and it's a giveaway from the profits again by the websites, right? So how does it function? And why are players so aggressive about कि यार इसका Rakeback अच्छा नहीं है? मतलब क्यों? Because site तो ये खुद अपने profit में से दे रही है, right? And I understand this is like you mentioned retention के लिए कर रहे हो आप कि it's like a cashback कि मैं दे रहा हूँ so that आप मेरे पास वापस आओ and मेरे साथ ही खेलो. तो why are players so aggressive कि नहीं इसका रेक बैक इतना कम है ये है because if I understand कि रेक बहुत बड़ा दो कि 10% तो कोई आएगा नहीं but जो बाकी का तो इंडस्ट्री वाइड सेम ही रेक है. So why are players so aggressive about leaderboards? Like if someone is giving away a 5 crore monthly leaderboard, isn't that good? And how do sites decide that? How does that go?
Yeah, so just one correction there. I mean, it's not necessarily always going out of profits. Sometimes sites are always taking a loss to entertain
Sure.
players, and I understand it's not a good long-term solution to it. And somewhere players also need to cap their expectations to a certain limit in terms of the rake back they're getting. Of course, the sites want player to play in a sustainable manner. I mean, so for someone who's putting in 8-10 hours trying to change the leaderboard, he has to be rewarded in a certain way. And we want to give it to the players to help them build a role for themselves, to help them make a career out of it. So sites try their best to support players who are upcoming and who are getting into it. And the players also need to cap their expectations somewhere. There has to be somewhere a balance. And I think Indian poker right now is uh, good enough. I mean, they have hit the balance absolutely right. I mean, for a cash grinder, let's just say I play for 6-8 hours and I have a downswing or upswing of 5 to 6 buy-ins. My 2 buy-ins coming from leaderboard gives me a security. Even if I have a bad session, it gives me security. If I have a good session, it gives me additional motivation. So probably that should be the player perspective going towards whatever I'm getting is the site trying to help me on.
Got it. Got it. Nice. So I think today we are at a balance because my last podcast also, I got the similar answer from someone from the MPL team. And they said that, yeah, there are plus minuses happening, but today we are seeing somewhere a balance where people are somewhere there. It's not completely towards one side. Okay, fair enough. So that's on the this thing, but we're only seeing it grow and increase. My last section is about Pokerstreet now. Let's talk a little bit about Pokerstreet. I personally downloaded when Prasun told me when you all were doing your pilot, and I really liked the product to be honest. And I played there was a founders this thing, right, an event.
Rounders.
फाउंडर्स राउंडर्स मैं एक्चुअली एक फंक्शन में गया हुआ था, मैं फोन पे उधर खेल रहा हूँ एंड जस्ट टू आई वाज like as a this thing. So yeah, called also very well and this thing. So what is the vision with Poker Street? Do you all have something के कैसे thought process क्या do you want to bring in an Arsh Grover on your portal today only, or is it right now that you all want to attract the micro stakes and build it there? How is Poker Street approaching poker right now, and is there any changes in the product? Are you all launching your app or anything? Because I really like the product and it's very clean and it had a very nice clean feel. Smooth bhi tha, so how what is your take there? Yeah, how are you all?
Thank you, Parth, for those kind words. It was absolute pleasure hosting you for Founders Rounders. So yeah, So when we thought of Pokerstreet, I mean, we had two perspectives of player profiles. You had Ankush, who's been playing poker for 14 years. You had me, who just started playing poker. And then, of course, our thought about, okay, fine, if we are going to be doing something meaningful in the industry, we'll have to attract new players into the platform. So yes, we've designed a lot of it keeping newer players in the mind, where this is a platform where they probably play their first poker game.
Wow.
We would
Okay.
love to be that platform for them, where they learn poker, they grow into poker, and they become the Ush growers of tomorrow. Like today, for me to get an Ush
Nice.
grower onto the platform today may not solve that purpose, because we are looking at creating maybe 10 more Ush growers out of this platform. So that's the
Absolutely.
intent with which we want to do that. And it would be a matter of pride, if one of the players go on representing India, winning a bracelet, getting a main event. I mean, that's something that India would love it. It's going to be our 1983 moment. And
I
that
agree.
moment isn't far away with the way poker is growing. But for that, poker has to be seen as a sport. And our approach towards Pokerstreet is to position poker where people look at it from a sport as a hobby. Like I'll give you my example. I was a like you were the your poker guy. I was like a typical corporate guy traveling 1.5 hours to get home after my work in Mumbai. Is that 1.5 hours I want to do something meaningful? And poker gave me that opportunity that yes, I am thrilled and I'm getting that chill for that using my skill. So we go with this tagline that where you use your skill to seek chill and thrill. So we want to be that
Nice.
platform where newer players come. We want to be rewarding. So obviously, if you spend time on the platform, you will be rewarded with the leaderboards. You would be rewarded with tournaments. Initially, yes, we've kept tournaments which are targeted towards a newer set of players and the younger set of players. And as they grow, we grow along with them.
Sure.
So it's about growing along with our users. We would love to grow as well. At the same time, we would always want to be, like I said, the platform where you play your first poker game.
I really like, हाँ, मतलब आपके पास वो clarity है कि आपको कहाँ जाना है, and so you're not into the fight of wanting to then just increase stakes, keep on increasing stakes, and it's about getting in those free rolls, getting in those tournaments, and letting small stake and micro stake and early mid stake players come in and kind of explore their poker journey, bring them onto the platform for the first time. Brilliant.
And just to add to that,
Yeah, please, please.
I mean, as a fan of the game, we'll also love to host our growers and borrowers soon on our platform. And in fact, we are on the lab, working on something around it that what we can do in our product to actually make it more appealing to professionals as well. So we are in the lab. We are working on some good ideas and good designs, and soon, stay tuned. It'll soon come out in probably
Wow.
next 3 to 4 months.
Perfect. So I'm sure aspiration is always there, and then but you have a pathway of आपको कैसे जाना है, 100% सही है. And I just, okay, before we end also, I just got this one question I wanted to ask. Yeah, ये variations क्यों नहीं? So I have my mama in the US, and he's working on his own. He created his own poker website for fun. He's just an engineer and he likes doing that. And but there's no real money gaming. It's more of this thing. So he had a lot of variations कि आपने जो आप अगर में दिवाली पे 3 पत्ती की नाइट्स होती है वैसे आप वेरिएशंस खेलते हो, तो वैसा वाला पोकर में where you have Omaha का high low and you have different such variations going on with the, like, so is that a place for exploring or experimentation, or is it allowed in India or not allowed कि आप बहुत सारे variation, because अभी आप देखोगे खाली होल्डम है और PLO है सबके पास, तो why not we bring in like each hand के बीच में, imagine if you are sitting on a table and each dealer जो भी आया उसके पास option है कि I want to make them play Omaha high low, I want to make them play Texas. Isn't that a product variation? Is it allowed, not allowed?
I would say it's a brilliant idea. It's see, I mean, ultimately, if you love
I'm
poker,
getting some stake into Pokerstreet now with this idea.
you're most welcome to.
Okay,
We would love
yeah,
to see the content.
yeah.
I mean, see, ultimately, Parth, you are growing the ecosystem as much as we are trying to grow,
Yeah.
and your contribution in growing that ecosystem is immense. So
Thank you,
yes,
thank you.
we would love to have you as a friend of the brand, always part of the family, always.
Easy, easy.
So yeah, variations in poker. Yes, I mean, if you love the sport and you want to face, okay, fine. In 1 over, I want the bowler to bowl one fast ball, one bouncer, one slower
Correct.
delivery, one leg spin, one off spin. As a batsman, I would love it. So yes, those variations, I don't think it's a question of whether it's allowed or not.
Okay.
It's about what the players want. And I'm sure all operators are working towards giving things. So for example, a lot of sites today don't have all variants of PLO. I mean, we started from day one with No Limit, PLO 4, 5, 6, available across Android, iOS, desktop, Mac OS. So it's about giving what the players want. Call break is getting popular today. Short stack is getting popular today. You are looking at a scenario tomorrow where what you're saying also comes in a mainstream offering, where you get different variants, a dealer's choice, if we can call it. So I don't see a day far away where that becomes a very commonly accepted thing. Now, whether it remains something that people enjoy occasionally or they want to see it as
Sure.
a regular feature, like how today they've started enjoying fast fold as
Correct.
a
Correct.
format.
Correct.
So
Correct.
experimentation will happen, because when you've got 14, 15 different operators trying to solve the same problem with different approaches, you're bound to see a lot of experiments come up. And we are also quite excited as a player to see more experiments in the industry and
Yes.
see what
Yes.
works.
Absolutely. Correct. Correct. Okay. Thank you so much, Prasoon and Ankush. It was really nice, and we got a lot of insights. We spoke about academy, we spoke about, and a lot of questions which I kind of, more industry-related and from the operator side, which I kind of really like that we got answers to. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for coming in, and yep, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us over, Parth. Absolute pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Hope you had fun. Okay, guys. Bye. Bye. Thank you.